And we're recording. Hopefully only recording and not broadcasting anywhere. Do you want to check the feeds real quick? Let's make sure we're not on Date Night Dice.
You know what? No, just go for it.
I was going to say, that's awesome.
We are live on Date Night Dice. Live. Boardvengers. Here we go. Let's do this. Mi gente, welcome to another Boardvengers special where we get together and chat about board games. Fortunately, the four of us, Professor Meg, Mckay, and Nelson, we were fortunate enough to be hosted media at the GAMA Expo. And I think when this comes out, it'll be 2 weeks now since we've been. It's already been way too fast. But we did a couple of live streams. But the question that I want to ask first, before we go straight into our experience, is what is GAMA? Because I don't think a lot of people know exactly what it is. Heck, I had no idea what GAMA Expo was until, I got the email saying, hey, come on down, check us out. So I'm going to pose the question to y'all, and whoever wants to take that. What is the GAMA Expo? Nelson, Meg, Mckay?
Yeah, so the GAMA Expo was we're just going to talk over each other, a conference that was more business to business instead of a business consumer conference. And so like a Gen Con or a PAX U, like all the companies are there to promote their games to the consumer, to the players. And this is more of a convention where people can talk, like retailers can talk to designers or what's the other word? I'm tired.
Retailers,
publishers. That's the one. Thanks, Mike.
That's it.
You can talk to publishers to kind of build those relationships and do business. And so it was different than what I was normally that I'm normally used to. So it was a nice, fun change of pace. Yeah.
Excellent. I should say that GAMA stands for the Game Manufacturers Association.
Yeah. One of the cool parts about it was there was definitely an emphasis on like improving as a business. So obviously a lot of the things didn't apply to us because the focus wasn't around media, but it was around like your FLGS, just getting more reach and growing as a business. There were lots of seminars going on. I think the first full 2 days were really just seminar focused, seminar and networking, I would say. And then they opened up the show floor for 2 days, and that's where you could kind of walk around and like demo some of the games and stuff like that. But I would say it was just it was a nice uplifting atmosphere. Wasn't like super consumerism focused, which is funny because it is all about like distributing and getting your games out there, but they're really low pressure.
Yeah, it was the first convention I've ever been to that I saw something I was ready to buy, and it was a set of dice that were beautiful. They were Damascus steel dice. And I said, do you have any of these for sale? And they said, no, they just didn't even have them for sale. So it was very much like that direct to retailer where they're there to create the relationship and order things as opposed to just selling to someone who's ready to, bring it home that day.
Yeah, that was a wonderful experience as far as knowing or getting insight on that retailer perspective, because that day one we sat in that first seminar and we heard retailers talk about their experiences in the FLGS, and it was just really cool to hear that side. So I'm happy that we were able to get a little bit of insight on from that. And the second question that I want to get into is, was it worth it? Was it worth us going to GAMA?
Yes.
Yeah.
Short answer. Yes. All the way. End of recording.
Wrap this up.
All right. That was a cool, tight 5 minutes. Perfect.
No, I think it was super worth it. From a media perspective, which I think they'll probably continue to branch out their media presence, which I think is awesome. I assume a lot of the people who watch this will be people who are also content creators and fellow people in the board game space. But it was great. I can't really say enough good about how well we were welcomed. When I found out that there were really only, I think 25 is what they said, 25 different accounts that were permitted to be there. And I was a little bit worried that we would kind of be like brushed off to the side. I'm used to at conventions people being like, your media, like that's fine and all, but I'm here to push product more than anything. And this was the exact opposite. They're like, oh, your media, let me show you this. And they were super welcoming. And I mean, as far as the Boardvengers, everyone knows that we're a fairly young brand. It was fun to see the recognition that we had by the end of it.
And Nelson got recognized on the airplane ride home.
That's right.
Yeah, that was crazy. So like when people were boarding, everyone kind of stops because you have to put your bags up and whatever. And someone stopped right next to me, and they're like, "Are you part of that like Avenger group?" I was like, "Yeah." It was, yeah, like we recognized you from. We made like a little media sheet, and they recognized me from that, which was super surreal and weird, but. Yeah,
What
like,
a
you're the one who likes
moment.
heavy games. Yeah, you're the one who likes heavy games. I was like, yeah, that's like, how closely did you study that sheet? That's awesome. But yeah, no, I mean, it was great. I just would echo everything that Mckay just said. It was completely different, right? Like you were saying, Mckay, at Gen Con or like a PAX U, the media presence, people at the booth are not necessarily always working for the different companies, right? A lot of times, especially at Gen Con, people working the booths are volunteers. And so it gets a little bit harder to make those connections and talk and understand like how to connect with people there. And this one was completely different, right? So they were there to build relationships. They're there to do business. And so it was nice to have, I think, Roberto, you said it, it was more relaxed, so it was easier to talk amongst that, and they didn't have to run off and try and make a sale, and they could talk, and we could see. I think one of the other things that I wanted to talk about was the first look room, which was pretty interesting. So who wants to talk about that?
I was gonna say, for an event that's never had media before, they really did a lot to cater to us. That they had a lot of events and things that we did go to the panels, and halfway through the panel, they started talking toward retailers, and I realized, oh my gosh, like we're not that target audience. So there were some things that were made just for us, like the first look room. And that was just for media to go through, and different publishers could set up their games. And we really got to see a lot. And I don't want to jump the gun for what followed after that. But there was also an event that was, catered toward networking. That, yeah, I feel like they really did a lot to start it off right the first year and show us what GAMA can be for media. And it was really cool.
Yeah. That first look room was great. And it was the 2 days. And I sent out some thank you emails to everyone that I had a chat with, and I said thank you for seeing me and hearing me, because as a person of color, sometimes that doesn't happen where I go. So I had to make sure and stress that, like, yes, thank you for the respect, the professionalism, chatting with me, telling me about your games, and then hearing me out, because I went there as Shear Boardom. Mckay was there as us as collective, and y'all were there as your separate entities. But going in, I had no idea how to pitch myself, and by the time I was done with that third day, I really honed it in, and it was cool to have that experience, because that was the first time that I wasn't able to do that at PAX Unplugged, because there were just way too many people around. I couldn't say, hey, my name's Roberto, yada yada yada, and this was just really cool for them to have a specific time frame for us to meet with publishers and designers.
Yeah, the networking power was just so, like, it was palpable. Everyone was there clearly to network and learn names, which it was also funny how many people didn't have business cards on them. I was like, that seems like the mantra of this entire event. They're like, oh, I'm so unprepared, I don't have business cards on me. And I'm like, maybe it's just all of us coming off of COVID. We're a little bit out of practice, but it was, everyone was super cool.
Yeah. Meg, do you want to talk about the thing that happened on that Wednesday?
Yeah. So on the Wednesday, are you talking about the speed networking?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was like, every day was a blur. But there was speed networking, which was really fun. And again, this was just so well organized that I can't believe what they put together for us in the time that they had. But we were in this room where games, set up one game per table. And we had 3 minutes each. So you'd sit down with a publisher. They had 3 minutes to pitch their game or their publishing company, their whole repertoire or what they had in front of them, and pitch it to you and explain to you what was going on and why they were even there. Because some of them were upcoming Kickstarters, some of them were games that were already published and things like that. And then you had 3 minutes to pitch yourself back to them. And it was a bit nerve-wracking, and it felt like trial by fire, I think, for us that, we're all a bit new to the scene. And I think by the end of it, it really had us feeling a lot more professional, at least for me, than when I went in.
Yeah.
That it was a really cool feeling, especially the confidence that I was like, do I keep going?
He'll be back.
But the way we talked with the publishers, like I had so much confidence in the games that they were showing me and the passion that they had, that I feel like they also saw our passion, that it was really cool, and it felt like speed dating a little bit.
Yeah.
But I wanted to date them all at the end.
The 2 hours one, because the networking was 2 hours long, and I went to sit down with, I think it was SFG Games, to look at Bard Song, and that's when Rachel called time, and I was so sad because I could have got another half hour of that, of just talking. It was so energetic, it was lively to just sit down and talk and hear and listen and then pitch myself to these people, especially after Mckay, because you're one of those people that on this sheet, right? Like yeah, Mckay is the best hype man there is.
I was just there as like, just get everyone excited. I'll be like, they'll be coming around. You're gonna meet these people.
Yeah.
That could have been a full day, and I would have had a blast.
Yeah. I think that's my only critique of that event specifically, is that I would have liked it to be longer. It did feel rushed at the end of it.
Were there any games that you sat down to see, or the first look room, that you absolutely were like, this blew my mind, I needed to have it right now?
I really
think because we are able to talk about all the games that we
are,
which is one thing that we had to ask. We had to ask, even on the expo hall floor. I made sure, like, hey, am I able to take photos of these? And some people surprisingly said no,
which was very new for us to have to ask permission and be sure you can post anything. I really want to play Illuminati. That one had me giggling. I was very interested in the game, but at the end I was reading all the puns about, like, based on the different book names, and oh my goodness, I was like, kindred spirits, I really have to play this now. That was really fun.
I played that one at game night, one of the game nights. So they had game nights every night from like 9 to 11, and a lot of the publishers would bring prototypes, and it was just super casual. And Illiterati is one that I played there because I backed it a while ago at the very beginning of the campaign. I was like, I know this is one that I want. I like word games. It's one of my things. So it was definitely one that it played kind of how you would expect it to, in like the sense of cooperative Scrabble. But I was like, I want to play this with a group that I really know well, because you're like bargaining for pieces, but in like a friendly way. It's like, I need that R. Is there anything I can do to help you, like, free up that R, because I have to have it, and you're all on a time limit. So it was really enjoyable. And by the way, the people behind it's Gap Closer Games, that took me a minute, nicest people ever. I sat and talked with them forever at different times, and emailed them after, and they remembered me, and they were just super chill. I liked them.
How about Nelson? Is there a game that you saw?
If I had to narrow it down to one, I'm going to cheat. So I did get to see the final production of Distilled, which was pretty cool. So that's the Paverson Games. Yeah, and so I was fortunate enough to be, I got one of the review copies that circled around a couple of the media folk. And so, like, seeing it, the Kickstarter version, the actual production version, the one that's not with the prototype parts. I mean, it's a beautiful game. I'm really excited to get that one back to the table. So that was a lot of fun. because I think that was the first game since I've started doing this where I've seen the final product after seeing a prototype version. So it's kind of weird. So completely out of my normal wheelhouse. For some reason, I'm super intrigued by this Royal Will game. It's a game where basically you're fighting over a royal will, and it's kind of a social game where he was saying at lower player counts it's more tactical and more strategic, and at higher player counts it turns into more of a party game, which I think is a hilarious concept. But basically you have a hand of cards, and there's an amount of money in a collective pot, and the first person to 10 wins, and you play an action card, and then you basically put a card face down and saying how much of the pot you want to take. And if the collective exceeds the amount in that pot, then no one gets anything, and whoever is the most greedy gets penalized. But if you are under that threshold, then you get to take whatever you said you wanted to take. And so it was just like it seems really fun. I'm bringing it. I'm taking a trip here in a bit to meet up with some friends, and so I'm taking it there. And so I'll report it and see how it went.
Cool.
Yeah, that
One
was
that definitely caught my eye that we joked about forever was we called it Hippocrates. We still don't know how to.
Yeah.
Hippocrates?
Yeah.
What is it?
Hippocrates?
Is it Hippocrates?
Hippocrates.
I would
say
oscillating between
Hippocrates.
Hippocrates. No, we were just saying Hippocrates because I like how ignorant it sounds.
Let us know in the comments below.
I know if anybody knows how that word is said.
Who do you agree with?
But the whole like doctors as like these little like triangle pieces that like fit in with patients. It was like this weird little like puzzle game that you're like matching up doctors with patients and specialists and stuff to heal patients and whatnot. But it was beautiful. The artwork, the little like potion, like I assume they're like remedy, like little gem looking things were amazing. $70 MSRP is generally outside my price range. I have to really like a game to spend that much money personally. But I definitely think I will keep my eye out for that one. It caught my eye hardcore.
Game Brewers got some great production quality. They're just we saw was it Oak? No. Oath?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oak.
Was it Oak?
Oak is there, yeah.
And that looked sensational.
It does look
just
beautiful.
by the artwork itself.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful production quality. And that's probably one of the ones that I was excited for. I did see the box of The Thing, the reprint that Ares Games is publishing. I got super hyped about that because I do enjoy that game at huge player count. We play that game all the time.
They're also doing a card version of War of the Ring, which I'm really excited about. That seems really cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. There's so much going on.
I forgot all about that.
We're just bombarded with new games, and so kind of think about.
Nelson.
It definitely will.
I really enjoyed one of the highlights for me was meeting up with the guys from Stonemeyer. We didn't. Susanna wasn't with us, but we did get Alexander Schmidt and Joe. I think his last name's Aubrey, and they taught us Libertalia. I just happened to have it here.
I just happened to.
But, yeah, I just happened to have it. There. No big deal. But that was that was such a fun experience, and that was probably top 5 for me, especially. I'd rather Meg tell the story or Mckay tell the story of what happened during that game. Because it is a game about pirates.
It was brutal. Here, I'll start because I think it started with me. I had the opportunity to steal a token from a person on the other side of me. I had a treasure map, and treasure map are best in pairs, or if you get 3 treasure maps, then it really boosts it up there. So I was like, okay, I could either steal from Meg or this random stranger. And I was like, hey, Meg, I could steal from you or I could steal from him. And I knew that Meg was going after me and could potentially just steal it right back. So I was like, that's unproductive. I said, Meg, if I steal from him, will you not steal from me so that we both win? And she's like, yes. And then what
But
happened?
I mean, I'd have to steal from Nelson.
You proceeded to steal from Nelson all the time after that.
It's true.
And he won.
Yeah. I told Mckay I wouldn't take it, and then I grabbed it right in front of him.
It was like seconds later.
Mine now.
okay, yeah, I
It was
won't do
amazing.
that. I took his and she took mine.
So,
Immediately.
and that was when Mckay learned not to trust me.
In that moment, I lost all trust for Meg. So, warning to anybody who has the opportunity to play a game with Meg: just don't trust her.
Don't do it. Don't do it. She's really good at dice rolls, and don't let her fool you. She's a savage when it comes to playing board games.
I like co-op.
I don't know. You really seemed to enjoy lying and then backstabbing in that moment. So
That's why I prefer co-op. If you can't take the keys out of the kitchen.
on a similar note, playing with Stonemeyer, playing Libertalia was amazing. It's super fun to be able to play a game with the person who designed it. You get a ton of insight into the passion that goes into it. We were able to sit down with Frank West and play Explore and Draw, which is it came out yesterday.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So it was officially released yesterday. It's the roll and write, basically, or flip and write, if you will, for Isle of Cats. And I had no idea Frank's background. He's self-published. He's just like, I just do this for fun. And I don't get booths at places. I just show up and do like guerrilla marketing for my games. He was super funny. I really enjoyed it. If you guys haven't watched it already, I mean, we're super entertaining during it. No, just kidding. If you go on our YouTube, you can see us playing Explore and Draw with Frank West, and he was really entertaining. He was fun.
I'll put it in one of these corners.
Yeah, you can cover my face.
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that.
I feel like he was tricking me the whole time, though. He really made me think I was
lighting.
winning. I was like, oh, I'm doing great, killing it, doing awesome, not going to change any strategy whatsoever. I think I did the worst.
Yeah, Roberto won that one.
I had like 20-something points.
I did. That might have been the only game I won that the weekend or the week.
Yeah,
so I'm
probably.
Happy with that. I'm happy with that win. Can we? I want to pivot to the expo floor.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things with this floor, again, we want to stress this is publisher to retailer, publisher to distributor, to designers, to content creators, media. So you can't really buy anything there. There were some stuff. There were things for sale, but not everything there was for sale. That being said, once the show floor opened, it didn't look like any other con. I mean, the only other con I've ever been PAX East and PAX Unplugged, but it didn't look anything like that. You could walk. There was space to you can put your arms out, and it was refreshing in that manner to have enough space to walk around and hear yourself or hear the conversation that you're having with someone next to you. And when we first went in, we saw that really cool. Actually, can I say that? I can, because we took pictures of it. The 3D. The 3D Mjolnir and the Iron Man helmet.
Oh yeah,
the puzzles,
like those puzzles.
That
I
was
was so
cool.
scared. I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
I was gonna say a video is probably playing right now as we speak. If we've cut in B-roll effectively.
Yeah. Those are super cool. We have the Hogwarts one that they put out. I think it's 40 puzzles. That's what it's called. The quote publisher. I don't know if that's the correct term, but we have the Hogwarts one. And it's really cool. It's really cool. And I really want. They had a giant Star Destroyer.
Yeah, they did.
Sounds amazing.
My wallet doesn't want it, but I do.
Speaking of giant things too, this wasn't exactly on the expo floor, but WizKids had giant life-size kobolds.
Yeah.
That were also amazing. That's what I wanted to take home. I was like, this is my new boyfriend. They were
That's
so
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, they had their own room.
Tall as Meg, actually.
Yeah. It was interesting for them to have their own room. They were kind of set off to the side, and we did, we looked at that peek in there. That I didn't realize just how much product that they made.
Yeah.
But well deserved of that room with like the hero clicks and all the D&D stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mage Knight.
Mage Knight?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I still need to play.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. When are you free for 6 hours?
I was gonna say I had a hard time
right now
down here for like half hour to an hour recording. So
what are you doing between the hours of 1 and 7 a.m.?
Usually sleeping.
Oh, well, scrap that.
Yeah. Next time. Next
one.
Now
I know what it takes to get into Mage Knight. You just need to give up sleep.
Yep.
Is that all?
No, and $150.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
That's good to know. How approachable were the publishers on the expo floor? Did you
They're
have any?
super fun.
Do you want? Are there any experiences that you wanted to share?
So you know how there's just like some people that you just like start talking to, and it's just like, yeah, we're besties. The people at Lucky Duck Games were so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great.
I knew Sean. Sean was there. I don't know his technical title, but I had met him not like 3 weeks earlier at SaltCon, which is Utah's like local convention. And he's from Idaho, I believe. Bree, who he was with, is from Las Vegas. But I went back there like 4 or 5 times just to chat and like just to check in and like see how they were doing. And they were super fun. They're really nice people.
I passed the Capstone Games, and I saw Boone Lake, and I had to say it. Like, I haven't bought this game because I really don't like the artwork. And the president was there, and he goes, "What? Check this out!" So he opens it up and showed me the entire game. So I've only ever just seen photographs, and that's definitely going to be one of those games I'm going to have to purchase because I'm a big Alexander Pfister fan. So that's going to join the collection at some point.
Wait,
the
what
other
was the artwork still bad on the inside?
No, it wasn't. It looked, I don't know, just looked campy to me.
Okay.
But once I saw it, you know, my mind immediately changed.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have that, and then actually, no, I don't want to say that. Yeah, well, you have that, and then Maracaibo. Maracaibo's like, it's in the Caribbean. He's like, what? Maracaibo doesn't even have good art. I'm like, okay, this is coming from, and that is paraphrasing at its finest right there. He said something like that. Something along those lines. Something along. How about
Sorry, I'm gonna look at my business cards really quick to remind myself company names.
Yeah, no, it was great. There was nobody that I didn't feel an eagerness from them that they wanted to work with us and talk with us and show us cool stuff. I mean, people are in this industry because they're passionate about what they do, and it really showed, especially talking with the people, the publishers, the designers, and everything. And so it was just, I mean, it was a ton of fun, right? I don't know what I can say without just repeating what Mckay said.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun because we got multiple different of those perspectives.
Yeah.
For different types of games. And everyone was super excited about it. I've been to like work conventions, and it's like, it's work, right? So this was a work convention for them, but they were really excited and passionate about it.
And I think this is something that you brought up, Nelson, but you were also messaging your local game store while you were at GAMA.
Yeah.
This was the first time I have ever been at any convention and even thought to myself, I need to bring this to my local game store. Where we were at Stoneblade, and they're looking into organized play for Soulforge. And obviously there was nothing that I could immediately do to start organized play, but I was like, how do I bring this to my local game store? What do I do? I'm ready to sign us up. How do I go beg them about this? So I think that's a piece that I've never really thought of, but that is something that you kind of do regularly, is the feedback to our game stores that influences not just what we get, but that what our community gets around us, and they start playing the games that, you know, we're asking for and things like that. It's something that I've never thought of before, and it made me really excited to go and do it, that I cannot wait to talk to them about this.
Didn't
it was
you
a
beat
new
Nelson
piece
at
that game?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Meg just absolutely destroyed Nelson with her zombie army.
It was crazy. It was awesome.
I'll take bragging rights when I can.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to.
So far, I'm the only one who hasn't won a game. We've now referenced one that everybody's won except for me. So
you didn't win any games?
I'm trying to think.
Didn't you win the mole? Did he win the mole game?
No, I didn't.
You won the game of being with us. Bam.
That's true.
There it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
I think I did win a game one of the nights at game night, but I can't remember. Which. Those went from like 9 to 11. This is after a full day of convention stuff. So honestly, by that point, I was fried. I was just like, I'm here playing a game. I cannot like do any more networking. Got to sit down. Excuse me. I do have a little bit of like a convention cough that came from that, but sat down with Grant and Danielle Standring. If you don't follow those two people, you definitely should. But played Ink and Gold, which is also on Board Game Arena. It was delightful. It was so funny to play with several other content creators. They were so outrageous and over the top, but it was fun.
A highlight for me, actually, before I even get into that, after my flight home, I went to Danielle's house and played games. Like I had the red eye. I was like, you know what, I can do this. And I went to her house and we debriefed, and then we debriefed about GAMA, and we played Arch Ravels quickly. Yeah. Nice. And they just went home. That was a good time.
You hadn't had enough.
I hadn't had enough. No, and she posted a TikTok video a little bit afterwards, and I saw it and I thought, I don't even remember having breakfast with you. Like it was just we walked the show floor, we had breakfast. I'm like, oh my god, I completely forgot that had happened, because there was just so much going on. And a huge highlight for me was meeting 1985 Games. Thank you, Meg, for making that introduction. Those guys were awesome.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know 1985 Games, they are a D&D supplement publisher. So they do tiles for D&D that can add different terrain depending on the campaign that you're doing. And I've been an affiliate with them for a bit, but I got to show them my Boardvengers. I also got to introduce them to Danielle. And it was great to see everyone getting along so well and chatting, and you know, I brought my friends to my other friends, and it was really great. They're some of my favorite people in the industry. Really, really great guys.
Yeah, Justice was super nice. He was fun to talk to. They make the deck of stories, which I talked to him extensively about, I think after you guys left, but I'm excited to use those for like D&D with my kids. I do D&D at night instead of story time. It's basically story time where they get to roll a couple dice.
That's
cool. That's awesome.
But yeah, I was like, at the end of a day, I'm just like so toasted after just like the entire day, and then to sit down and just like think up story points for my kids. I'm like, it's just a lot. And so it was like, he showed me the deck of stories, which are basically little prompts, and they're all coded by like their placement in the story, as far as like whether they're the climax, the ending, the setup, or whatever. And I'm super excited to get my hands on a set of those and start testing those out.
Cool.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Another question for the family here. Do you have any critiques? Do you have any feedback? Anything that could have a little bit of improvement for next year?
I think this is not so much a critique, but it was very interesting that I had a lot of people asking me, like, saying that felt like they were missing out not going to GAMA when they're just fans of board games. And it's very much not a consumer con. So I think, you know, if you didn't get to go, but you saw media there, maybe it's the type of con for you to be excited that you're seeing coverage of it, but it might not be as exciting to be there. Like, you're not able to really buy stuff. There's not as much that kind of exciting things to do. It is more people building networking type relationships. So it was very cool to be at, but very different from normal conventions.
Yeah, I would say that if you want that, GAMA's consumer con is Origins. Yeah. So that's in June, I think. It was weird last year. They switched it up. So go to Origins. I'll be there, so it'll be fun.
Look out for Nelson.
I should be there too.
And if we're there, if we're at GAMA next year, like, we let us know like what you wanted to see more of and what's exciting, because we were kind of feeling out the situation as well. Like, was the daily like digest of what we saw and what we did, was that exciting, or was it like, no, we just want to see like more live playthroughs of things that are coming to market? Like, yeah, just like Meg said, consume the media coverage of it, because being there probably wouldn't be exactly what you're expecting.
I couldn't believe we did 2 live streams in a day.
I know, right?
That hit hard. That hit hard. We're like, wait, we're going live with the designer of Isle of Cat. What? We just did that like 5 hours ago.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that like was difficult, and then I just want to figure out a way to prepare for it better. I had scheduled several appointments with different publishers, but we were all from different time zones. Like when we were scheduling it, we were scheduling these across like 4 different time zones, and then
plus daylight savings.
What was that?
Plus daylight savings.
That's right, and daylight savings the day before.
Oh.
So I went back through all of my emails, and I was tracking down like what time zone they scheduled it in, what time it was on my calendar, looking in the GAMA app to see if it had logged on there. Anyway, it was just a nightmare that way. And so the way it worked best was when the publisher would schedule through something like Calendly or something like that. And then it would be put on my calendar and update accordingly as I moved time zones. But that was probably the hardest part, was trying to schedule things with people across time zones with daylight savings, and having moved time zones in between all that scheduling was a nightmare.
Yeah, there was a lot of because I wanted to do a couple of seminars, and because it took people a lot longer to get to Reno than anticipated. So a lot of the seminars were canceled as well. And I think that would be my feedback for that is, we were there as media, and once we heard that click over to retailers, which is cool, because that insight is great. I'd love to see if a few seminars for just for media, to see how we can improve ourselves. Granted, not that the one thing that I was able to sit in, or the couple things I was able to sit in, I did get some things out of it, but having it be more focused towards us would be beneficial.
I think it'd be cool if we could do a talk.
I was gonna say we could probably educate as to like how to use media and reviewers and stuff, and what we look for and how best to work with us would be actually a really interesting thing to talk to with people about.
Yeah, yeah. I was on a Facebook site. I think it was, actually, it doesn't even matter which one I was on, but someone had asked a question: was it worth going? And I believe, Nelson, you answered that question. I saw Danny Standring answer that question, and a lot of it was you put in to get whatever it is you put in, you're going to get out of it. And I was like, what a perfect way to say that. If you're just there to just walk around and not talk to anyone, you're not going to get much. But hey, there's seminars, there's the expo hall, there's demos, there's so much to do.
Yeah.
It actually reignited me to do more content creation.
Yeah,
it was great. Yeah. Would you go back?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, duh, that's a no.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. I think your text, Roberto, kind of like nailed it. It's like, can we just do a Groundhog Day version of that week and just continually relive that week over and over again? I'd be all about that.
You know how exhausting that would be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
Yeah, I would. But and some exciting stuff for anybody who's watching. We do have some exciting stuff in the works. I don't want to speak too soon, but stay tuned. We met some amazing people who are providing some amazing opportunities for content, and just stay tuned both on our individual accounts and the Boardvengers in general, because there are some very neat things that came out of GAMA that, like I said, I don't want to say too much, but we're excited.
You've already said too much, Mckay. God.
I know. Sorry. Just like and subscribe if you haven't already.
There's so many. There's so many.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your evening. Actually, Mckay, being the West Coast, it's very early for you still.
I haven't even.
And Nelson too. Nelson,
I'm over here. I'm over here on the West Coast.
Yeah, you're over there too. You're over there. But thank you for spending some time doing this Boardvengers episode. Until our next gathering, which is going to be soon. Happy gaming.
Peace.
Bye.